Hi, this is a quick video for individuals who will be approving WSF plans during the FY27 year. Most of you have already been in the process of approving plans for FY26, and the process isn't changing very much, but we wanted to highlight just a couple of key differences because this will be an overlap where you may be approving changes made during the amendment window for FY26 while also beginning to review and approve plans for FY27. As an approver, you receive a daily email that looks similar to the one that you're seeing here on screen. As you can see, it lists the name of the plan, the principal for the school, the status of the plan, and then we've added the fiscal year so you're aware of the plan that's needing review, what fiscal year it applies to. Additionally, you used to receive a daily email that listed not only the plans that needed your approval, but also any plans that were either getting ready to come into the status that would require your approval, or any plans that you would move forward, showcasing where they are in the process. We've removed those extra details from the emails this year, and instead you will just see plans that need your approval, and you'll only receive an email if there are plans that need your approval. So you may not receive an email every day as you have for FY26. Within the emails is a link to take you to your interface to review the plans that need your attention. You would click here, but I already have it open, so we're going to go over here. Within that interface, and I'm using the WSF reviewer interface at the moment, you'll see plans that need your approval. You're able to see any of the strategies that are currently attached to that plan, the fiscal year, the status, of course, and then any of the additional details related to funding and those kind of pieces. If it was an FY27 plan, I'm going to go ahead and do FY27. And as you can see, you now have the option of switching between the fiscal years to be able to look at the plans specific to the fiscal year you're interested in reviewing. So I've got my test run down here, and you can see here's the status, the total current FY, pending, projected balance, approved strategies, and current unallocated. And then, of course, if we open that, and you can see the additional details, any notes that have come through as the plan has been processed. And then if you were to open the strategies, you can see the details related to the cost, number of students served, and those additional details related to the plan. Now we're going to go back to FY26, and we're going to go just to this one here. And all of you may not be able to see all of the different status options. Our WSF reviewers and our budget office reviewers have a little bit more access than other reviewers along the process. So don't worry if you only see the status related to where you are in the approval workflow. But for any plans that appear in your interface requiring your approval, you would click Open, and then you're going to see this blue button, and you would click there, and it would open a form where you could begin reviewing that plan. Now, I don't want to review this particular middle school's plans, but I do have a test open. So if we were to click that button, it would open a form like this. If you were to click that button on a plan that is not currently, let's say, on your desk or under your review, you would not be able to move forward past the screen. You would see a box that says, hey, this plan is not currently under your approval, and you would just be able to exit the form. But in this case, of course, this plan is under approval, and so we're going to click next. And before we do that, I should say the video that you're watching now and any other guidance documentation will be hosted here at the top. However, if you are reviewing an FY26 plan, the video and guidance documents are not the same. It may look like the same text, but the links are actually going to be different based on what the fiscal year is. We can see this is FY27. We've got the principal name and then the current status, and we're going to click next. Those of you that have been doing this process for a while, you may already kind of zoned out this box, but just as a reminder, please do not click X on any of the strategies that you see on the screen. We do not want to remove any of the strategies from the plans, so we're going to refrain from clicking X. However, you can click Load More, just in case there are any strategies that aren't listed. You may see Load More appear a couple of times if a plan has more than, say, 8 to 10 strategies. And you'll never need to click this blue button, just guidance to say if you want to look at the strategy, go ahead and click that edit button. So we're going to click edit here. And then it's just going to load details of the strategy. So you're going to see the title, any details provided by the principal, whether it was used previously, and if the answer is yes, any data they have for that. The cost. This box only appears if you're a WS reviewer or if you are with the budget office. And if you were to click yes, you would be able to edit that cost. Those of you not at those two levels will not see that box, and you will not be able to make any edits to the strategies that you're reviewing. So you can see the further details, the same as we were seeing in that interface. If they have listed any school staff that will be tied to that strategy, you will see their information listed here. Then you can see their goal alignment and those type of pieces. Something that we've added new this year is whether or not literacy enhancement funds are being used for that particular strategy. And of course, the answer will either be no or yes. So that's a new detail that you are also able to access. So we're going to click next. That's going to take us back. Once you've looked at all of your strategies, if you are a WSF reviewer or within the budget office, you're going to see this question that says, hey, did you make any changes? We, of course, did not. If you are not a WSF reviewer or with the budget office, then you're not going to see that question. Down here, you will see the literacy enhancement amount of funding that a school has if they have literacy enhancement funding. If they don't, this information won't show. And then you can see this is their total, and that encompasses that amount of funding within that total. And then this is the current unallocated balance of funds. And then this is what their funding would look like if the strategies above are approved. And then you have the choice of sending it back to the principal if changes need to be made or moving it forward. If you're a WSF reviewer, you will only see forward to literacy enhancement reviewer if strategies on the plan are using literacy enhancement funds. If they're not, you'll have the option of either moving it up to the level leader or associate level for approval. And that's also true for literacy enhancement. If you're a literacy enhancement reviewer, you'll notice you have the option of moving it up to the level leader or associate level. It just kind of depends on who the school is assigned to. The last piece in here, so we're going to say we're going to move it forward. And then here, if you've made any changes for WSF reviewers or budget approvers, or if you have any feedback you'd like the principal to have, whether that's, hey, make this change, or hey, this looks great, you can put it in this box. If you don't have anything, you can put NA. What the principal will receive an email once you submit this form, letting them know either that you've sent it back and requested edits, or that it's moved forward. And within that email, any feedback that you've written here will be included. So we're going to put NA in the instance for the test, and we're going to click submit. And then you can see we're done. And then there is a link if you need to get back to looking at all of the current requests that are available. In this instance, it's taking us back to FY26, but you'll also be able to access the FY27 interface just to showcase kind of how that looks, because FY26 has more details. You can see it's a lot of the same information you saw in your own approver interface, but you have access to all of the plans. You cannot approve them from this piece. You can filter by school, or you can even just type in the number, or you can, of course, scroll, and then you can choose the status. You'll only see status options that are currently applied to any plans. So for instance, if there are no plans currently under review by level leader, that status option is not going to appear in this drop down. And same as in yours, you can click open on any strategies if you want to review the information, and you can click open on any plans if you want to review those pieces as well. Okay. And then let's go ahead and we can take a look at the FY27 interface. So FY27 looks nearly identical to FY26. You still have the ability to choose the status and search by the school, and you can see the information related to the plans. Of course, none of these plans have status options yet because they haven't been started by the principals, but you can see the status of the strategy and all of those different pieces. Couple of things I do want to point out. For the amendment window form, you will see already approved unedited strategies are not listed there. And then down here, you would also see a list of any withdrawn strategies. That is because withdrawn strategies are coming off of a previously approved plan. For FY27, because we're not in an amendment window process and none of the plans are yet approved, you're not going to see that list of withdrawn strategies because there's no funding tied to anything that's been withdrawn so far because the plan is not approved. So that's a key indicator of not being in the FY26 form, but being in the FY27 form, not being able to see that withdrawn strategies. And then, of course, you have this much larger yellow warning box than what you were seeing on the FY27 form. So just a quick point out of differences. That is what it looks like this year. We hope you found this information helpful, and we hope that the approval process goes smoothly.